Yo, what's good everyone? Welcome back to the channel. The time has finally come. This is officially my first Nhl Dfs video for the 2022-2023 season. As most of you know, this is by far my favorite sport, and I couldn't be more excited to break down this opening night 2-game slate. With that being said, let's dive right into my spreadsheet here. And like we always do, we're to kick things off here in the top left-hand corner with those highest implied game totals. We got the Golden Knights heading into LA playing the Kings with an implied total of 6 goals. Lightning going to New York playing the Rangers with an implied total of 5.5 goals. And then you can see the money lines are exactly the same in both of these games. Kings and Rangers favored to win at -115, and then the Lightning and Golden Knights sitting there at -105. Now I know I got a lot of returning NHL people here to these videos, but if you are new to this video, what we do here is kick it off with a couple of my favorite line stacks. We're then going to dive into some of my favorite individual plays, and then wrap it up there with 3 low-priced options or sub-4K forward plays. With that being said, let's dive into some of my favorite line stacks here, and I want to start by saying this, and most of you know this, but again, if you are new to Nhl Dfs, look, we're starting this off with just a 2-game slate. So I'm going to highlight some line stacks here, I'm going to highlight some individual plays, but we really need to find ways to make our lineups unique on such a small slate like this. So you can see in the notes off to the right-hand side, I talk about that in the forward section. Some of the ways I'll look to make my lineups unique is stacking full power plays and targeting second and third line players. I don't think we need to get too crazy and target a bunch of fourth line players. If you think a fourth line guy is going to play big minutes and might sneak on one of those top 2 power plays, then yes, by all means they're in play here, especially being that it is a 2-game slate, but I just wanted to kick off this video by mentioning that. Now, one of the first line stacks that I wanted to highlight here is actually that second line for the Los Angeles Kings, and yes, I like that first line as well. You got Anze Kopitar centering Kevin Fiala and Adrian Kempe. They brought in Kevin Fiala from Minnesota this offseason, paid him big money, and he's going to get opportunity to play up on the first line and number 1 power play right off the bat. Really excited to see what that line can do all year long. But I don't mind pivoting off of them either to this second line of Phillip Danault, Trevor Moore, and Victor Arvidsson. You know, they're going to be a lot less popular than that first line. They're very affordable, and we saw some really good things from this line pretty much all of last year. They just seemingly got better as the season progressed. Now, Victor Arvidsson did miss some time as well, but still had a really good season. And Phillip Danault and Trevor Moore, well, they had career years last year, and I like them building on that this season. You're likely going to see Danault and Arvidsson play on that number 2 power play together. Not entirely sure if Trevor Moore is going to get any time there, but again, a very affordable line stack here with some really nice upside. And then another line stack I like here is going to be that first line for the Vegas Golden Knights. Now, I am recording this on Monday morning. I've gone through all 4 of these teams. Of these 4 teams, Vegas's lines have been the hardest to judge. Bruce Cassidy was shuffling some things in their last preseason game, but I suspect this is what their first line will look like. Now, again, it's Monday, so we're going to want to check these lines here in Morning Skate on Tuesday morning. I'll announce updates in the comment section below on this video as well, but again, I believe this is what their first line will look like. We got Eichel centering Smith and Kessel. A pretty affordable line stack here as well. I know Eichel's a little more expensive at $6,900, but not crazy expensive by any means. And I love the chemistry I saw from these 3 in preseason, albeit a small sample size. Eichel and Kessel looked pretty good together. I don't know if that's going to stick, but again, I liked what I saw in the small sample size in preseason. Now, we'll likely see Smith and Eichel play up on the number 1 power play. Kessel plays down on the second, but again, let's make sure we check those morning skate lines for all 4 teams on Tuesday morning, as well as the power plays. Now, some of you might be wondering, okay, well, where are we checking those? I usually use dailyfaceoff.com or leftwinglock.com, and actually I use both just to kind of compare and make sure that they both look the same, and if they don't, I try to go on Twitter and find some source, a beat writer from one of these teams, and see what the morning skate lines are. Now, folks, if you could take 10 seconds here to like this video and subscribe to the channel, I would greatly appreciate that. I got a lot of hockey content coming out for you guys this year. I'm going to be doing some betting content as well, whether that be on my Twitter page or on these videos here, or just a separate video that I create. I do want to get out some NHL shot props for you guys and keep track of that all year long. I'll link all of my socials in the description below. Alright, now hopping on down here to some of my favorite individual plays and pairings. We're going to kick it off there with the forwards. First guy I got is Nikita Kucherov of the Tampa Bay Lightning, and it actually looks like the Lightning are going to be putting their top 3 forwards together to kick off opening night. That's going to be Brain Point centering Steven Stamkos and Nikita Kucherov. They're the most talented line on this 2-game slate, and I have no issue playing them, but they're also the most expensive line stack, and they're projecting to be very popular. So yes, I did want to talk about Kucherov here because number one, I think he's too cheap. I think you could easily price him at $8,500 here and people would still play him. He's the best overall player on this 2-game slate, including playoffs last year. He played 70 games, had 33 goals, 63 assists, 96 points, averages over a point per game. He's been like that for years now, an average close to 15 DraftKings points per game. Played well against the Rangers in the playoffs, 3 goals, 5 assists, 8 points in 7 games. And that included 1 regular season game. Again, averaging around 14, 15 DraftKings points per game. We know the upside we get out of Kuch. Plays on that first line, plays on the number 1 power play, and could very well score 30-plus points on the opening night. But again, he's very expensive and projecting to be very popular too. Now, the next guy I got here is Artemi Panarin of the New York Rangers, and I want to highlight Vincent Trocheck with him at the same time because both those guys are currently playing on the second line for the Rangers right now, and both are looking to be playing on the number 1 power play. Again, we're going to want to confirm that on Tuesday morning, but just looking at the lines right now, we see both of them on the number 1 power play, and very affordable here at $5,800 and $5,100. And Panarin's been one of the best forwards in the league for a few years now, plays very well at home too. That's been a trend with him for a couple of years. Vinny Trocheck, he is coming over from the Carolina Hurricanes. Probably still feeling some things out with his new team, developing some chemistry with guys like Artemi Panarin, but a very affordable price here, $5,100. He should play big minutes, and we should be able to get him at a little lower ownership compared to that first line of Zibanejad and Kreider. Now let's pop back on up here to Adrian Kempe. I name-dropped him earlier when I was talking about the LA Kings. He plays on that first line with Kopitar and the newcomer of Kevin Fiala. Yes, I love that first line. I'm going to be playing them quite a bit this year. I do believe that. I think they're going to fly under the radar. That's notoriously how things go. Not on this 2-game slate, but, you get a 7, 8, 9-game slate. People don't love playing teams out on the West Coast. They want those early games in the East Coast, so guys like Adrian Kempe can fly under the radar, kind of like he did most of last year. Even when he had a career year, made the All-Star game, racked up 37 goals, 23 assists, 60 points in 85 games. Including playoffs, and a guy that just loves to shoot the puck. So $5,300, I think that's too cheap. Another guy that could be priced $1,000 more expensive, and people would still play him. But in terms of some of my favorite individual plays on this 2-game slate, Kempe's one of my favorites. And then another forward who's coming off of a career year is Chandler Stevenson of the Vegas Golden Knights. He had 21 goals, 43 assists, 64 points in 79 games last year. Again, Vegas is the hardest team to judge here on Monday morning and what their lines are going to look like. But if I had to put money on it, my guess is Chandler Stevenson will center that second line with Mark Stone. Not entirely sure who that other winger will be, but that's my best guess right now. Either way, Stevenson should log about 17-plus minutes in this game. He's going to get time on either that first or second power play, and I just think he's a little too cheap here at $4,000 for a guy who's legit got 20-plus DraftKings point upside, which is 5x value at this current price. Now, just want to take a quick minute to talk about one of the sponsors on this channel, Lucra. If you have not downloaded Lucra, it is completely free to get started. I'm actually going to throw a QR code up on the screen here right now. You can scan this with your phone. It's going to download the app, and once it does that, it's going to give you my referral code, which is GRIFF, GRIFF, and give you $25 in free play money. Now, you can use that free play money to compete against anybody, friends, family, or someone random, and if you win those contests, you'll actually see that free play money convert to real cash. So if you win enough of your contests with that free play money, you might legit never have to deposit a single dollar on Lucra. You can just build a bankroll from there. So again, I'll throw that QR code up on the screen one more time. You can scan this with your phone here. It'll download the app, include my referral code GRIFF, GRIFF, and give you that $25 in free play money. Now moving over here to the defensemen, and I think we can roll with any one of the top 4 price defensemen on this slate. You can see I mentioned them in the notes. Victor Hedman of Tampa Bay, you got Fox and Trouba there of the New York Rangers, and Pietrangelo of the Vegas Golden Knights. Hedman's the best overall defenseman on this 2-game slate. Fox is very close as well. Both those guys will play big minutes, 24 plus minutes on their team's number 1 power play, and both will play on the penalty kill. Trouba and Pietrangelo, they both play on their team's number 2 power play, but you're going to see them log big minutes as well and play on the penalty kill too. But I really like the value you get here with Drew Doughty and Shea Theodore. We'll start with Doughty there on the LA side of things. He got hurt about midway through the year last year, but was having a really good season. 7 goals, 24 assists, 31 points in 39 games. He was averaging about 2.5 shots on net per game, and he's not afraid to put his body on the line and block some shots as well. Now, he'll play up on the number 1 power play, plays on the penalty kill, and should log about 25, 26 plus minutes in this opening night game. And while Shea Theodore likely won't log 25 plus minutes in this opening night game or play on his team's penalty kill, he is going to play on that Vegas number 1 power play, and one of the most offensive defensemen on this 2-game slate. You could probably argue he's the most offensive defenseman, but Victor Hedman and Adam Fox would definitely have something to say about that. But again, I love the price here at $4,800 for a guy who had 14 goals, 38 assists, 52 points in 78 games last year, someone who's got 20 plus DraftKings point upside and isn't afraid to shoot the puck. So I just, again, love the value that you get with Doughty and Theodore, but I wouldn't be afraid to play any one of those top 4 defensemen listed above them. Next, I got Sean Durzi there of the Los Angeles Kings, who really stepped up in a big way last year for Drew Doughty once he went out with that injury. We saw Durzi get promoted to the number 1 power play and start to log about 20 plus minutes per night, and I think he just might fly under the radar here a little bit, even though it is just a 2-game slate. Someone who should play 20 plus minutes in this game. He's going to play on that LA number 2 power play, so maybe you could stack him up with someone like Philip Deneau and Victor Arvidsson if you're trying to get a little more contrarian, and a guy that has found ways to rack up DraftKings points in a number of different ways. You know, I'm looking back to last season, obviously, but in his last 10 games, he was averaging around 2.5 block shots per game as well. And let's not forget, on DraftKings, if you block 3 shots in a game, you get that 3-point DraftKings bonus, which could be huge on a 2-game slate like this. And then wrapping up the defenseman there with Mikhail Sergachev of the Tampa Bay Lightning. Now, do note he is listed as day-to-day as I record this, but all signs point to him playing on Tuesday night. A guy who should play about 22 plus minutes in this game, plays on the Lightning number 2 power play, and plays on the penalty kill as well. He's a very well-rounded defenseman. He had 48 points in 101 games last year, including playoffs, so about a half point per game type of player, averages about 2 shots on net per game, and 1.5 block shots per game. So at $3,400, I thought he was just a little too cheap. He should be priced in the low 4K range. And don't forget, I got some honorable mentions listed there in the notes as well. Walker of the LA Kings didn't play much last year, but he's got some really nice upside. Martinez of Vegas, definitely not afraid to put his body on the line and block some shots. Same thing there with Edler of the LA Kings. And then Lindgren there of the New York Rangers. He's listed as day-to-day right now as well, but suspect he will play. A guy who's not afraid to block shots and a good price, $3,000. And then I got one goaltender listed there for you, Igor Shesterkin of the New York Rangers, but you guys know the deal, right? It's a 2-game slate. There's a case to be made to roster any one of these 4 goaltenders. It really depends on what the rest of your lineup is going to look like. If I'm going to roll out a bunch of Tampa Bay Lightning players, then no, I'm not going to play Igor Shesterkin. I'll play Vasilevsky or one of those goaltenders from the Kings or Knights game. But I just don't understand why the best goaltender in the league last year, who won the Vezina Trophy, is listed as the cheapest starting goaltender at $6,900. DraftKings, what are we doing here? He should be the most expensive goaltender on this slate, especially considering the Rangers are favored to win. Let's just take a look at his numbers while playing at home last year, and his away numbers weren't much worse by any means, but at home he was just absolutely phenomenal with a 29-7-4 record that does include playoffs, a 1.90 goals allowed average, and a save percentage of .942. Just, again, ridiculous numbers, averaging close to 21.5 DraftKings points per game. there's absolutely no reason that Igor Shesterkin should be the cheapest goaltender on this 2-game slate. And as always, going to wrap up this spreadsheet here with 3 low-priced options or sub-4K forward plays. First guy I got there is Ross Colton of the Tampa Bay Lightning. It looks like he's going to start on the 3rd line in number 2 power play this year, but could very well make his way into the top 6 of forwards for Tampa. Coming off a really good season last year with 22 goals, 17 assists, in 79 regular season games. This kid is a natural goal scorer with a really good shot, and I will mention that he played much better at home last year compared to on the road, but a lot of people are talking about him being a sleeper play this year, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see him log close to 15 minutes in this game after only playing about 10 to 12 minutes per game last season. Next is Alexis Lafreniere there of the New York Rangers. Also looks like he's going to start on the 3rd line in number 2 power play, but I wouldn't be shocked if he mixes in that top 6 even on opening night, because right now it looks like Jimmy Vesey is going to play on the right wing with Vincent Trocheck and Artemi Panarin on the 2nd line. I wouldn't be shocked if that's Lafreniere by the end of the game, and a really nice price there of $2,800. Let's not forget, this kid was the 1st overall pick by the Rangers just back in 2020. They want him to play in the top 6, if at all possible. And then Gabriel Velarde there of the Los Angeles Kings, going to play on the 3rd line and might mix in on that 2nd power play for them. Again, let's make sure we check on those lines and power plays on Tuesday morning. But he was a pretty big surprise for LA in the preseason, and yes, I understand it is just preseason, but he had 4 goals, 1 assist, 5 points in 6 preseason games. That's good to see. You don't want those guys getting blanked in the preseason, so maybe he carries that into the first game of the regular season here. And hey, for what it's worth, this is the bare minimum price, $2,500. A kid that has shown some nice upside. And of course, we're going to wrap up this video here talking a little Prizepicks. For those of you who have not joined Prizepicks yet or are looking to get signed up, we had ourselves a really good NHL year last year, putting those numbers on the screen right now. Some highs and lows for sure, but ultimately all we care about is having a profitable season. And as you can see there, it was a very nice season for us on the NHL side of things. If you have not signed up for Prizepicks yet and are interested in doing that, I got a promo code that you should definitely take advantage of. When you're signing up, use my promo code GRIFF. GRIFF. Prizepicks will match your deposit all the way up to $100, and you don't have to put $100 in either. You want to put in 50, they'll match 50. You want to put in 20, they'll match 20. They'll match anything up to $100. Again, as long as you're using that promo code GRIFF. GRIFF. Come get in on this fun here on the NHL side of things, looking to have another profitable season. Now, as I record here on Monday morning, Prizepicks only has props out for one of these games between the Rangers and Lightning. You can see there nothing for LA or Vegas. I will want to see those props as well before I give you my final picks, and that was kind of the case all of last year. I would record in the morning, Prizepicks wouldn't have all the props out, so I'd wait for the rest of those to come out, and then let you know my final picks in a comment below on this video, and then I'll be sure to pin that comment as well, and join my Discord. I'm going to put just the logo right there, but I got a link in the description below. Join the Discord too. We got a bunch of people talking props in there, and just hockey in general. I want to get that Discord a little more popular here during this season, and for what it's worth, you NFL people too, feel free to join. Alright everyone, that is going to wrap up this first NHL DFS video of the year. As always, thank y'all for taking the time out of your day to watch the content here on this channel. If you could like this video and subscribe to the channel, I would greatly appreciate that. Let's have ourselves a great day here, folks. Let's win some money on this 2-game slate. In the meantime, I'm out of here.